Welcome to CEO 360, the podcast where we go beyond the headlines and sit down with the leaders who are changing the world around us. I'm your host, Rahul Sehgal, and today I have a great pleasure of speaking with a truly remarkable first generation entrepreneur who started with nothing but a conviction. The talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. My guest today is Sanjay Laul, founder of MSM Unify and Laul Global Ventures. In 2012, Sanjay set out to fix a broken, fragmented, agent driven international education industry. What followed is one of the most compelling entrepreneurial journeys I have come across. That is bootstrapping $1 million global education ecosystem spanning to 30 plus countries, 1,500 plus partner institutions, and over 135,000 students helped, all without raising any outside capital. Today, LOL Global operates across education, real estate, and a tech venture studio, and was recently recognized as Asia's most inspirational leader at the 2025 Asian Brand and Leadership Conclave. Sanjay, a very warm welcome to CEO 360.
Thank you, Rahul, and thanks for having me here.
Before Sanjay, we dive into the chapters and the complete thread of our podcast, could you please explain very briefly how the business is structured, what is LOL Global Venture, and how MSM Unify sits within it?
So, Rahul, a little bit about myself. I want to start with that. So, born and raised up in Lucknow, India, and now for the last 12 years, 13 years in fact, I'm based out of Vancouver in British Columbia, and second home is New York in the US. So, I've been a first generation entrepreneur in my family and
Okay,
built MSM Unify, started MSM Unify in end of 2012, start of 2013 as an in-country office model, which was to provide support to the institutions that were looking at having feet on the ground in many regions of the world. So that's how we started, then turned it around into a tech venture gradually. So today, MSM Unify is a full global education ecosystem of student placement. We have around 1,500 plus institutions, 21 countries. Our presence is there, and we cater to over 45 countries. Then within that, we have MSM Grad, which is an online programs uh, division from certificates to degrees. And then MSM Eventra, which is an AI-powered learning management system, student information system, and CRM, which is licensed as SaaS model.
okay,
And then MSM Unify has a B2C student outcome division, which is Career Banale, which is just in India. And then we have an MSM Enterprise, which caters to corporate and government. That's the full fledged MSM Unify. MSM Unify comes under our parent company, which is LOL Global, and the portfolio also has five career colleges in Canada, which is Eton College Canada in Vancouver, Multi Hexa College in Quebec, and Vancouver. And Multi Hexa College, I have to tell you, that's the oldest IT training college in Quebec and is francophone. And then we have Taylor Pro College and Extreme Pro Training, which together makes one of the largest truck driver training institution in Western Canada. And then we have Q Academy, which is IT training and skills development in Canada. And then last year we have launched a foray that has been a foray into the higher education market in the US with Florida Coastal University. That's a digital university and is fully operational now. We have launched with bachelor's, master's, and doctorate level programs in business management and IT and educational leadership. 25 years into global education, 13 years with MSM Unify. This
okay.
has all been built from scratch with no outside capital.
Oh, nice, nice. Now, as you know, our podcast is divided into chapters. So the first chapter we have is origin story and the bet. And so my first question there is, You are a first generation entrepreneur, uh, and no blueprint, no safety net, no family business to fall back on, right? In 2012, you had a vision to fix international education. What was the movement? What was the point there when you decided to actually bet on your life with MSM Unify?
So I have to give you some background
Okay.
before answering this question, and in that background lies the answer. So
Okay.
one is, when I was in school in Lucknow, one thing I was very clear was, I don't know where it came in the mind that I will never get into a job myself, and that was in the school. And I always believed that I have to create jobs for
Okay.
the people. And then 10 years, when I started business, one business, another business, I really struggled. 10 years,
Mhm.
no guidance. My dad passed away when I was very young, in grade 8, 13 years old. So there was no real guidance that I got. Somehow I found international education, or international education found me. And I immediately felt that, oh, this is something that I'm made for. Then somehow it was no looking back from day one into international education. And that was in the year 2000. Now, 25 years into international education, there's been no looking back. And that's where I saw immediately, in 6 months, I realized that the system is completely broken. It's a completely agent driven market. Students don't get real information, parents don't get real information. Wherever the agents were getting more commissions, students were being pushed or placed there. So I felt really that this broken system can be uh, fixed, and that's what I've been working on in international education in the entire journey. I think I've been instrumental in picking up a lot of gaps and have been able to fix some of those.
Thank you for opening up so transparent with your father passing away and the journey. So was there a friend group or a circle or a family group where you have been invited? Like how does that entrepreneur idea, the seed was planted? How was that seed was planted in there?
So entrepreneurship, you see, one thing in the school was very clear, that I never wanted to get into a job. So
Okay.
obvious reason was it has to be entrepreneurship. And
Yeah.
uh, being nothing, being no having no support from home or from relatives, it was a journey on its own, and that is one of the reason 10 years were a
Yeah.
big struggling phase. But then the mind was structured in such a way that I'm not going back anywhere. It has to be a forward journey.
Industry in 2012 was completely built on agents, relationships, and the handshakes. You know that the middlemen agents made money from the friction and the opacity. You came in with a tech first transparent model. How many doors got slammed on your face before someone said yes?
So many, almost all, I would say. You see, and like any other business, you start.
Yeah.
You're always asked, what's the experience you have in this business? How do you have experience when you're starting something?
Yeah.
Either you come from a job or from that sector. Otherwise, if you're starting afresh, you don't have it. So, and that is something I've always faced in life. I love that objections, when these objections come. Uh,
Okay.
so, but coming back, to be precise, on moving from a service oriented model to a tech model, when we were doing that, agents were very skeptical, because they felt that we are kind of going into their space. And institutions were very skeptical because of the data privacy and GDPR. Uh,
Mhm.
and initially it was very tough, but as soon as we got the GDPR certification, it took us almost a year, and some institutions started accepting us, and then there was no looking back. I think very important is, it's the conversations. You continue those conversations, you get no's and no's, and then it starts happening.
The next chapter I would touch more on the building and transforming on MSM. There would be some difficult questions, Sanjay, so
Yeah.
please bear with me. Uh, you, you moved MSM from a service provider to a global tech platform connecting 1,500 plus campuses with students in 21 countries. That's a
Yeah.
massive internal transformation, both operationally and culturally. What did you have to kill inside the business to make it happen?
So I'll tell you when we started planning that, okay, service model which was doing very well, and we want to venture into the tech. We want to make it a tech venture now. The resistance wasn't from outside. The big resistance was from inside, within the organization, from my own people, from my own senior executives, because they were everybody was so comfortable, we were doing very well, everybody was so comfortable doing the things their way. That was the big resistance, and because of that, and we knew that we have to move on from service model to tech venture, and because of that, some relationships got lost. Some people left us, senior executives, and that's what happens when you try to transform your own organization.
If you can be more open, Sanjay, here about who were the senior executives you mentioned, like the board members or the shareholders or the
No,
partners, who were
so
they?
because this is a now here, that's the best part of it. This is a completely bootstrapped company, so it's the family-owned business. So when
Okay.
I say senior executives, they're not shareholders, but senior executives are the one. You see, the organization is not built by me alone. It has to be built
Okay.
by the people, and senior
Yes.
executives play a big role in shaping the entire organization. People who were working with me for a decade or so
Hmm.
did not feel comfortable because new tech people with tech mindset had come in. It's a completely different culture. Tech culture and service culture, they don't gel together. In service sector, you customize solutions for every client. In tech, you build tech and you scale that, and in that, some of your clients don't even fit into that segment.
So it was more of an operational challenge within the company which you had to come across with.
Yeah, that's right. That was internal. I think that was the biggest challenge. And with tech, then there were external challenges. As I told, GDPR compliance. Once we got
Yes.
GDPR, it became easy. And otherwise, external challenges were less. I would say internal was much more.
You mentioned you bootstrapped this venture, and this is a family owned business. No VC and no outside capital, pure grit and cash flow discipline.
Yeah.
Most founders chase funding as a shortcut. What does bootstrapping at this scale actually require, and what does it cost you personally?
I'm built for being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Whether it is it's weekend or whether I'm on vacations, there's one discipline that our kind of first generation entrepreneurs have to follow. One
Yes.
is you have to enjoy work, you have to be very passionate about what you do and what you are transforming, and then in that discipline you always work. So
Okay.
if you're not available as a founder, and it gets messed up. It's not
Okay.
a not a not a funded organizations, right? So
Yes.
so it has to be, I would say, a lot of discipline.
Okay.
Discipline is the key. With the discipline that we work, and that's one part. And second is you have to at all times focus on revenues, cash
Yes.
flows, uh, what goes out and what comes in. uh, you have to monitor it so well. And I'll tell you one thing, and I've seen it along my journey. So many of my fellow entrepreneurs, those who have been first generation, if they don't follow that discipline, one is overall discipline of work, and uh, second is cash flows discipline. One has
Yes.
to ensure that cash flows, you have to be on top of cash flows.
Yes.
One can falter any time. And you've seen the best of the ed tech companies have
Yeah.
faltered, and most of these companies falter because of cash flows, not
Okay.
because their income is not there.
You mentioned two important things here. One is the discipline, revenues, and cash flow. Cash flow. I would say again, you mentioned you are working on weekends and working hard. When I asked what does it cost you personally, I was also hoping to understand what is the sacrifice with the business, with the family you have made, and
So
what it really cost to build that business.
I'll tell you, I don't want to be, I don't want to play a victim card here. So,
No, no.
right. So one thing you see, family gets used to it. Have I gone to my son? I've got a son, 18 years old now. Have I got to a parents teacher meeting at my son's school?
Yeah.
Tell you the truth, no. I've got a great support from my wife. She has been the one going for the sports day, going for his sports in the evening, and I think that gets missed completely. You can't balance it out everywhere because I was traveling over 6 months in a year, and
Mhm.
then navigating time zones. Sometimes I end up working the entire night, even today when I'm in Canada and I'm working with my Indian and Philippines team. So whether you say that gets missed out, yes, you miss some things. Is that a sacrifice? I wouldn't say it's a sacrifice because sometimes you're built for larger things. You get happiness when you build up, you are able to transform lives, you're able to transform families. And I believe that at MSM Unify and Law Global, vision is very clear that we have to build nations with education and workforce development. And there's so much happiness when we do a bit on that.
That's a good, I would say, bridge to move to the chapter three. That if your vision is clear. So we talked about the transforming of MSM. We talked about your initial days, and I would now come to the chapter where it would ask questions about the ethics and responsibility. When you are building something for the nation, there
Yeah,
comes some of the responsibility and the ethics which needs to comply on.
yeah,
Agents in the international education industry have a long standing reputation for prioritizing commission over students' outcome.
yeah.
You work with 5,000 plus agents globally. How do you genuinely know and not hope, know that your agents are acting in students' interest and not in their own wallet?
I would say there's no perfect answer to that. And I'll be very honest in answering this.
Thank you.
5,500 agents. Do we know all agents act honestly with the students and parents? No, we
Yeah.
cannot have that as a perfect answer, I would say.
Yeah.
But one thing in our platform that we have taken care of is agents' due diligence.
Okay.
All our agents are vetted agents, education agents, completely vetted as per the ethics and compliances of multiple nations like UK, Australia, US. There are councils there, and they have their own norms. And we have built our own agent due diligence stuff, and we ensure that all agents are good. But I'll tell you. Whatever we do, the question that you have asked is a little different. I'm saying my agents are pass a due diligence test. That's that means they're ethical as
Okay.
per as per the standards or norms set by different countries.
Mhm.
Whether their counseling is driven by commissions, some of the agents definitely always look at what commissions they are getting, and then they push those applications or those institutions, and
Yeah.
that's very well known in the market. So I this is the answer I would say.
Thank you for being honest there. I think the audience appreciate the honesty in our channel a lot. Uh, you have helped 100,000 students plus across global education, but not every student will have a good outcome. Some take on significant debt, move countries, and end up in some different, no, I would not say in a good position, but more of a in a situation where they have to manage now the debt and the jobs things. So how do you carry that responsibility? Do you look after the students after they get into the university and then they get out in a job market? What is the responsibility level there?
So I'll tell you, every student or the parents, I would say, because parents are the big decision makers or the main
Yeah.
decision makers, particularly in India and India subcontinent.
Yeah.
So whether every student has a good outcome, the honest answer is no.
Yes.
Uh, and I'll give you a couple of situations. Student picks up a high demand course, and
Mm,
by the time they graduate, it's off the immigration list, and the student has gone there for immigration,
mm,
education plus immigration, right? And the job market tightens because it's off the immigration list, means there are no jobs in that particular
yeah.
segment. So you can't always predict that whether it's an agent, whether it's our whole ecosystem, uh, whether we were completely ethical, yes, whether we did the right thing to guide the student for that particular course, yes. But by the time the student graduated, the job market has tightened up. So
Mm,
that's one case scenario.
yeah.
Then there can be another case scenario where the student has gone uh,
Mm,
to an institution, to a program, and the job market has really tightened up overall, like in Canada today. The job
okay.
market, whether you graduate from any program, the job market is tight, unemployment is a little high, right?
Yeah.
How do you control that situation? The outcome that parents thought, that the student thought, I don't think it's going there. But one thing I've seen, on the positive note, I'll tell you one thing I've seen, because I've lived in Canada and we have been instrumental in bringing in around 12 to 15,000 students just in Canada for many years. So one thing I've seen is Indian students. There's something unique about them. They
Mhm.
find their way out. 98% of the students. You see a lot of stories about Indian students coming back from Canada or from some other countries. Those are minuscule. They
Okay.
are less numbers. Students are able to find out their way, majority of the students. Some weak students, some not favorable situations, sometimes they come back. But if you look at, does it not happen in India, within India? If a student has gone from north to south to study engineering, do they have always the positive outcome that the parents have thought of? No. I think it's the same thing that happens. What happens in India at times, the student outcomes are not there. The same thing can happen overseas.
So you are saying by the time the student graduated, the outcomes has been changed within the nation job market. The types of jobs have changed, um, uh, and sometimes it's the skilled students who are more intelligent finds their way out to the job market. Is there anything which MSM helps them to find their position in the job market, or it's just up to the graduation and then they have to find their way out?
Good question, Rahul. For the past many years, we were just till the time we send the students, and then it becomes the responsibility of the institution. If the institution needs us to build strategies of supporting students, we would do that, but the institution would be the front face who would support students with career services and so on. But now we have also ventured into talent mobility, and as a part of our talent division, we'll be supporting students, those who need that. We'll be supporting students in finding jobs too.
Okay.
That's an
Okay.
extension now. Whether we were doing it before, no.
Okay.
It was
Okay. That's
institution.
right.
It is the institution's responsibility on the career services. And one thing, because we work so closely with so many institutions on career services, we have been having good discussions of what the expectations from Indian students has been. And another thing I want to add here is Indian students' expectations have drastically, dramatically changed over the past few years. Before, Indian students would not talk of outcomes much. Now it's not the outcomes. The buzzword is ROI. What's my return on investment? And and so we have to be very mindful. The platforms like us, the ecosystem like us, we have to partner with the right institutions, and sometimes we have to do a bit. Give institution a lot of knowledge, and we have to prepare institutions what they should be ready for.
So you touched a great point there that the students are asking that what's my return on doing the investment. So in your opinion, Sanjay, and could you help me and our audience to understand why Indian students wanted to go abroad to study? Is there because the Indian education system is very much competitive, or the quality of education is better abroad, or it's sometimes the students needs to get a different exposure? So what are those channels? Like why I'm just trying, I know I'm pressing you here, but I just need to understand why students are moving abroad for the education.
That's a very good question, actually. And let me give you the background.
Hmm.
And even for both of us, I'm born in Lucknow in UP, and then from UP I came to Delhi. Migration tendency, greener pastures, more opportunities, and then I moved to Gujarat, and then I moved to the UK for a couple of years, uh, and then to South Africa, then to US, then to Canada. So it's a migration tendency sometimes, and finding the right opportunities in the right country. Same as with you, Rahul. With the conversation I am having, I understand you're born in India, studied in Italy, now in the UK. So I think it's greener pastures, finding the right opportunities, better lifestyle, access to a lot of amenities, right? So now let's look at some of the states in India. Punjab.
Yeah.
Let's look at AP and Telangana. Let's look at Kerala. The people are born with the migration tendency. Sometimes the life only starts when they go abroad.
Okay.
So they go abroad to study, and study plus settlement abroad, right? That's one. Second is, let's look at the Indian higher education system and the job market. India is a young country compared to, look at the Western world, which many of the countries are baby boomers countries.
Yeah.
Now, in this country, we have youngsters. One is they can study here in India and then go for a job abroad, or they can do the high school, or they can do their undergrad and go for masters and then for a job abroad. You see, India will continue to send their youth in multiple countries for blue collar and white collar jobs. That's the fact. And if you look at some of the government agencies like National Skills Development Corporation, they have some funds also that if you are training and placing students from India abroad, NSDC is ready to fund you for that. So that
Okay.
means India definitely wants, that's the strategy, to send talent abroad. And that helps in a lot of things, I'll tell you. Indians go abroad and then they bring in the foreign exchange back to the home country.
Okay.
Uh, they do a lot of investments. So that's one thing. People like us, we have deep roots in India, and we do a lot of investments as well
Hmm.
into business.
Yeah.
And then look at the kind of influence Indians are carrying abroad now, be it any country, in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, in the US. Indians who have studied in India uh, and gone abroad, they carry the influence. They are the CEOs of the big companies. And I think that carries a lot of clout for India.
That's a perfect way to enter to chapter 4, which is strategy, expansion, and what's next. You mentioned that Indians are going abroad, and there is a government strategy which helps in this migration for education. um, and then the forex happens. The forex trade happens. Coming with the AI, are these blue collars and white collar jobs getting tightened up? And second, a fallback question here on the forex trade is, as India is currently not granting a dual citizenship, is that blocking the strategy in a longer term, or it's getting favorable to Indian political environment?
With AI playing a big role in our life now, I think a lot of disruption is happening when it comes to university degrees. Uh, a lot of university degrees are losing their sheen. One thing that we'll see in the Western world, particularly, and we'll not see that in India. And India is a different higher education landscape, and we can talk about it
Hmm.
separately. So, in the US or in other countries, we'll see a lot of mid ranking and low ranking institutions. Either they will merge
Okay.
or they will die down if they don't change, if they don't become a little more innovative and disruptive. Now when it comes to trades, you see a lot of trades will be, there will be a lot of automation and AI in the trades as well. Trades will still continue to employ a lot of people. If you look at Middle East, over 1 million workers are required. Forget about let's not take Iran Israel
Mm-hmm.
war at this point in time. If even if that had not happened, there was a requirement of 1 million blue collared jobs there.
Yeah.
And similarly, if you look at Japan, 400,000 people are required there because it's a baby boomer country. In US and Canada put together, there are 100,000 truck drivers that are required. And have we automated truck driving completely? A little bit, yes. But when would the road rules change? I think we are still a decade away.
Yeah.
So a
Okay.
lot of disruption is already happening. A lot of disruption will continue to happen, but there is a need of talent. Uh, we'll have to train our talent in a different way, and we'll have to prepare for the new age. That's
Okay.
one part. Second is look at how much the universities in today's world or the education companies have to do. Almost all the workforce have to be reskilled today.
Okay.
That's a big job in itself. Now today in our own company, I'm struggling with people, those who are not adapting AI. We are pushing so much on reskilling them so that they are at least operating at an optimum level, because otherwise efficiency has fallen down for a lot of companies. So
Okay.
I think education is there to stay. Universities are there to stay. They will need to be innovative. They will need to change as per the requirements of the new world. They'll have to accept that degrees may not be so attractive for the young population. Maybe a 6 months course or a 1 year course or a 3 month certificate would be
Hmm.
enough to find to get them into the job market. So that's
Yeah.
where I see that education is going to be disrupted a lot.
Post COVID, the UK, Canada, Australia all tightened their student visa policies, directly attacking your core market there.
Yeah.
That's an existential threat to the business like yours. How did you navigate it, and what does it tell you about building a business that depends on government policies?
So one thing, if your business is based on one government policy, that's not
Yeah.
business. Uh, we
Okay.
call it in the share market, that's a position.
Okay.
And when you consolidate a position can collapse anytime. I've built the entire business on common sense and with huge market intelligence. COVID came as a surprise, no doubt. But we were the first ones to suggest our partner institutions to go online and reduce their fee so that we are able to enroll the same students that were in the pipeline for online programming till the time travel resumes.
Mhm.
So, whether we were disrupted a lot, I wouldn't say. We were impacted only 20%, which we could absorb and it didn't harm us much. The only thing is, and I'll tell you, I consider COVID as a positive sign, that adversity as a positive sign for our business, because during that time we sat on the board again. One was safeguarding what we were doing, and second was opening other business lines where we would be able to impact the world positively.
Interesting. You announced a multi-million expansion into India. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's the figure says $20 million, 250 franchise locations. That's a massive conviction call at a time when others foreign investors are pulling back. What are you seeing in the Indian market that others are missing?
So simple, two things: 1.4 billion population, second
Okay.
is growing middle class, and third is the spending capacity of the middle class has grown so much. Now that I am frequently traveling every 2 months for 1 or 2 weeks in India, but before I used to travel. Last 3 4 years, I was traveling 2 or 3 times in a year. But every time I came to India, I could see visibly from my eyes India is transforming. A person based in India wasn't able to see that transformation. But every 3 4 months when I was coming, I could see the infrastructure, new infrastructure that was coming on the road, and I could see the mindset, the positive mindset of an Indian. So overall, I'm very upbeat about the Indian market. The
Okay.
aspirations of the Indian students or parents, or uh, if you talk of what the student mobility from one country to another brings, that global experience, apart
Mhm.
from the education, I'm very upbeat about it. And not only this, I will continue to invest in the Indian market.
That's great conviction there. Moving to the chapter 5, which
Yeah.
is future of education and how do you see it? You have spent 30 years helping students access formal university education globally. Here's the uncomfortable question.
Yeah.
Do you actually believe a university degree will still matter in 20 years down the line? Or are we genuinely heading into a skills first, credentials optional world?
So I genuinely believe that university degree, like business degree, computer science degree,
Mhm.
would completely lose its sheen. They won't matter at all. That's what I feel. That's my personal view. But when it comes to some of the licensing professions, like medicine, uh,
Mhm.
like law, uh, finance, where the government requires you to have education and pass a test to become a CPA, to become a lawyer, to become a doctor, that's going to stay as it is for now.
Okay.
But overall, other degrees will lose their sheen. Research will continue. Research work will continue. It may continue in some other shape than what it is today. Uh,
Okay.
Stacking of modules, you see, this is always going to happen slowly and gradually. Uh,
Mhm.
we are already seeing, and India has also implemented stacking of certificates, and then diplomas, and then new pharma, then you get a degree out of it. So stacking modules is the new thing that is going to become a little popular. But overall, when it comes to business degrees, computer science degrees, and liberal arts, I feel that they will continue to lose their attractiveness with time.
If a student today can learn anything from YouTube, ChatGPT, Claude, and online courses for free, what exactly are they paying almost 25 to 30,000 pounds a year for? And is it still worth it? Because when I go to India, a lot of my peer circle has started doing homeschooling.
Yeah.
So I can already see the change happening at the schooling level in India and in other European world as well. So how do you see, will a degree would be a worth of 30,000 pounds a year going? Uh, going for, or will there be a change?
30,000 pounds a year, an undergrad degree, let's say from a mediocre university, would not make any sense. And
Okay.
actually, if you see, ha- was it making sense even 5 years ago? No, it wasn't making sense. A degree today from a high ranking institution uh, still would make sense.
Okay.
Though we are seeing increasingly a lot of employers, they're not talking about it a lot, but they have started removing education conditions from the job descriptions. Education is not one of the requirements, or those requirements are reducing now. Degrees from high ranking institutions, degrees that have been very popular, or sometimes just the programs that have been very popular with some institutions, will continue to uh, hold its value.
Do you think the degrees today of MBA and all these business management studies would essentially boil down to their alumni network, or uh, because the
100%, Rahul. So if you look at, let's say, a degree from a Harvard University, that's not just a credential, that's an experience on the campus, that's a network of Harvard alumni all over the world in high ranking positions. Degrees are there to stay. They will lose their attractiveness to one segment of the society, uh, and we will definitely see some shrinkage of mid-ranking and low-ranking universities as well in the time to come. And we are already seeing a lot of institutions are struggling as well financially. So we'll see that.
just to close the chapters down there, one piece of advice for a young person in India right now who has ambition, very limited resources, and wants to build something global, what do you tell them?
One piece of advice, not only for youngsters, but for anybody. I think to start when you're not ready, that's very important. People
Okay.
wait for the time when they will be ready, and that time takes sometimes years. So
Mhm.
have to have a mindset. You start something when you're not ready for it.
Thank you, Sanjay. This is the closing of our all the chapters. We are moving to more fun round. It's a rapid fire. You don't have to think twice. Just simple, one sentence or a one word. Uh, One country in the world that is most underestimated as an education destination.
I would say Germany. Germany is still underrated. Germany has a lot of potential.
Biggest myth about international education industry that students believe.
The students feel that the hardest thing is to get there, to get to the
Hmm.
foreign land. I think that's one of the easiest things still.
Okay,
Building a real life there, I think that's
that's more
the main
challenging.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you could change one government policy on student visa overnight, what would it be?
Post-study work rights for the students, so
Okay.
that they can, and that too for a longer period, so that they can study, they can work, and then decide where to settle down.
And best piece of advice you have ever been given?
And that has helped me a lot, this advice. So
Okay,
it is like, don't confuse being busy with making progress.
that's a good one. That's really a good one. Sanjay, thank you so much for joining us on CEO 360.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Chen. Yeah, enjoyed it.